I'm Bouris, and this is Straight Talk. You like a bit of a larrikin because you've kept the hairstyle, like stuff everybody. I don't care what you say about it. Have you got a bit of that in you?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been a smart ass.
Cameron Smith, welcome to Straight Talk, mate.
Thanks for having me on, mate. It was just always in my mind that I was going to play golf. I didn't really ever think about anything else. You know, watching the Aussies play well and even Tiger, I wanted to be a part of that.
A lot of people criticising you. How did you deal with that?
It was a really big decision. There was a lot of harsh comments at the start, but...
Yeah, I'd imagine someone like you has a team.
I've got a trainer, psychologist.
I think in golf you need a psychologist.
Mate, it's so frustrating.
Oh. Cameron Smith, welcome to Straight Talk, mate.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
You know, what is the deal with Cameron Smiths in the world? Like, I only ever heard of two Cameron Smiths, and you're both at the top of your game. And you're both Queenslanders too.
Yeah.
Do you know
lucky. Yeah, I've met him a few times.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's a great bloke. Really good guy. Obviously a great rugby league player as well. He's one of the best.
But like, I've only ever met two in my life. Well, I've met you today, but I've met him in the past, but I only know two in my whole life. And you're both like, he'd be arguably the greatest, number 9 of all time, probably in my view.
Yeah.
And you're one of our greatest golfers of all time. It's the weirdest thing. Which part of Queensland do you come from, by the way? You're not from the same area he's from.
I'm from Brisbane. I think he was out west a little bit more.
He's a bit. No, I think he's between. He's down between Gold Coast and Brisbane. It's not such a great area where he comes from. It's a bit rough. So therefore, you're presumably a Queenslander at heart.
Yep.
Do you miss home?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when I come home, I feel like I don't want to leave, and then when I go back, it's like I just want to go back home. You know what I mean? But
back to the United States.
Yeah.
And you live
or away for that.
Do you live in Florida?
Yeah.
I want to talk about that in a moment. And of course, you know, this conversation's off the back of Trump's big win, the Trumpster. He kicked a lot of people around, and that has some relevance to what you're doing now with LIV, relative to, you know, where the breakaway that LIV sort of created. And he actually said, being a mad golfer himself, he actually said that he could bring the two parties back together in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I heard that.
You heard that?
Yeah.
And you must hear these conversations in living in America, because Florida actually went way in favour of the Republicans.
Yeah.
Way in favour of the Republicans. And he obviously lives there. He's got a place there.
Yeah.
Do you get to see much of this activity? I mean, being, like a special golfer, do you get to talk to these dudes? Do you get to meet him? Does he say, let's play a game of golf?
I have played with him before, yeah.
Oh, really?
I played with him last year. I'll tell you one thing that was nuts was the Secret Service was absolutely mental, and he was a former president at that time. The amount of people that were around was insane.
This last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is before he's,
before he started like campaigning and all that stuff, yeah.
Because I did see a time there where he was playing golf at his course, and they found some snipers sitting behind the bushes. There's more recently.
I believe that, yeah.
Like it must be a mad place, America. Like it's like compared to what we're used to here in Australia.
Yeah. No, I think that's one thing that's way different. You would never see that in Australia.
Nah. Well, I mean, I see John Howard, former Prime Minister. He just walks. I see him walking around Macquarie Street.
Yeah.
Just on his own, by himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He might say hello to me or something like that. And he will stop in the street and have a chat.
Yeah.
And he just walk on.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't see that.
America's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like relative, especially relative to Queensland, for example. Like, I mean, maybe you can expect a little bit of that crap here in Sydney, or a little bit in Melbourne, but like not in Brisbane.
No.
So it must be a huge eye opener for you, or do you find it adventurous and like exciting?
Yeah, a little bit. I would say it's the most nervous I've ever been. Because,
really?
Yeah, because I felt like I couldn't I felt like I couldn't do anything wrong. It was almost like I needed to be a robot. But he wasn't that type of person. He'd come up and hug you and give you a high five and stuff if you made a birdie or whatever. But
he would.
Yeah,
Really?
absolutely. Yeah, he loves golf.
Yeah.
And he's like a history buff. He's a fiend for golf. He knows every stat. He's crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some of the stuff that he was pulling out. I mean, I'm a professional golfer. I wouldn't say I'm a historian of the game, but some of the stuff he was pulling out, I was like, I didn't even know that, and I'd go research it. And I was like, oh, that's right.
So so you would say that Trump is an actual student of the game.
Yeah.
In terms of history student, he knows what's going on.
He knows everything.
It's funny. Kerry Pack was exactly the same. Kerry, not just golf. Kerry would be able to sort of comment on all sorts of things like polo, all sorts of cricket.
Yeah.
Like all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I just go back a little bit? Because I'm actually curious about, one, how does a kid from Queensland, from Brisbane, become a professional golfer? Can you just take me way back? Because you're not that old anyway, but like if you take me back to say when did you first pick up a set of golf clubs?
I was probably 3 or 4 when I first started following Dad around, just at the local golf course north of Brisbane, One Teamer Country Club.
Was it like a Tiger Woods moment? Like were you like your Tiger Woods dad? Like was your dad doing that?
What I initially loved about golf was the social interaction and the friends and how good of a time I was having with my old boy. And I think that's how I initially fell in love with the game, and that's what wanted me to pursue it. Was one, it was a really cool thing for me to hang out with all these great people, but I was also pretty good at it as well. So it was really fun beating the friends.
Yeah, but when you say the old boy, that's your dad.
Yeah.
So like, if you're like, what are your earliest memories? Like, what would your dad do? Would he say, "Come on, we just take the putting green," or
no?
Was he a teacher?
Yeah, he taught me the fundamentals for sure. And then when I was probably 11, 12 years old, I met my coach, who's still my coach today.
Oh,
We've
wow.
been working together for close to 20 years now.
So you're in your early 30s or mid 30s, yeah.
31.
31, early 30s. Well,
yeah.
Mad.
Yeah. So he taught me everything, the rules, the etiquette, everything that comes with golf, and then kind of sent me on my way. And he was really good in the fact, and I think I got really lucky in this sense that, he brought me up, he helped me, but then once it was time to let go, he kind of let me do my own thing. There was no pressure added. There was no, you need to do this. He would just take me to tournaments and be quite happy to watch, and that was it.
But he didn't give you advice?
Yeah, for sure. If there was a bad day or a good day or something like that, there would be a well done, or today wasn't your day. It was never. You need to get back to the range and start hitting some more golf balls. It was just you had a bad day.
So your coach today, for example, is the same bloke.
Mm-hmm.
You just got one coach. I mean, I'd imagine someone like you has a team.
Yeah. So I got a golf coach.
That's him? No.
Yep. Grant,
right?
Yeah, Grant Field. Yep.
Is the same old golf coaches you've had the whole time through? Yep.
I've got a trainer, a psychologist.
A trainer being a physical trainer for fitness?
Yep. He kind of does both. He does trainer and physio, so massage and all that stuff.
Yep.
Psychologist.
Because a golf can need I think a golf you need a psychologist.
Mate, it's so frustrating. And a caddy, obviously.
Yeah.
And then now with LIV, we have the team around us as well. So we have 3 other players. We have a general manager, and 3 other caddies as well. So there's a big team involved now.
And do they all have their individual coaches and individual physio and trainers, et cetera, like that?
Yeah. So we all, most of us share the same physio, and we all have different coaches. So, yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's like running a business.
Yeah.
It is a business entity in itself.
Absolutely.
Of course, that's your hat. That's your team, Ripper GC. Who came up with the name? Because very Aussie.
It was a process, to be honest, and there was probably 3 or 4 to choose from, and I felt like Ripper just was so Australian. Like there was no other choice. We had some other names like the Outlaws is one of them, and I was like, that's a bit corny. But Ripper, something about Ripper, it's the way of it's in our language.
Yeah.
So I just loved it, and there was no other name for me that I ever really thought about.
It's sort of in our DNA a little bit. And I was going to ask you, are you like a bit of a larrikin? Like, because I mean, you've kept the hairstyle and you like stuff everybody. I don't care what you say about it. I love that. But have you got a bit of that in you? And have you always had that in you?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been a smart ass.
Yeah.
It's so good because I think all of us on the team now we're all kind of a bit smart assy. We all kind of put shit on each other all the time, and that's why we have. That's what I think why Australians have such great bonds, because you can just kind of say stuff that doesn't mean anything, and then you go have a beer and you laugh about it later.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Do the Americans get it?
No,
because they're very polite.
Yeah, they're very polite. Yeah, they don't understand us doing that.
Yeah, because we can actually. By the way, we can actually put shit on each other, as you're saying, and then go and make up pretty quickly. But equally, if someone in Australia thinks you're getting too far ahead of yourself, they'll pull you back down pretty quickly. Particularly media,
tall poppy,
totally. Yeah. Whereas the Americans around the other way, they actually love you to get a bit ahead of yourself. They actually support you, pushing you up, push you up. It's very rare that they don't have that tall poppy syndrome.
No. I think that can be a good thing. I've definitely seen it be a good thing, where someone has so much confidence in themselves and they believe in themselves so much, and they almost go to that extra level. But that's just not us, is it?
No. And I actually would like your opinion, because I was only asked about this the other day, and I didn't have an answer. Why are Australians, I should say, so different to Americans in relation to that? Like, why do we drag someone back when we think they're getting too far ahead of themselves?
Yeah,
compared to Americans.
I don't know. Maybe it's a sense of everyone's the same,
equal.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, we have a very I think that was sort of my answer too, because I think Australians, we like to think that we all can have a fair crack. We can all have a crack. And that by someone being outlier, someone being way ahead of everybody else, it's sort of unfair, because the other people who are sort of not at that level can't have the same crack. Yeah. And therefore we try to sort of equalise it.
Yeah.
And I don't mean in a socialistic sense. I don't think Australia's socialistic. But I do think that in a social sense, we want everyone to do well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone do well. America, it's a bit opposite. They just say, listen, let that individual go well, like Elon Musk, for example. Like, I'm never going to get to his level. Yeah. Let him just keep going. There's no drama. Yeah. But Australians, we were thinking, no, hang on, he's pulling too much oxygen out of the system.
Yeah.
They leave a little bit back here for us to breathe.
Yeah.
And we'll tend to bring him down a little bit, you know, and we'll put shit on him a little bit.
Yeah.
And you living in both places, so how often... Like, what's your sort of rhythm? Do you live in America most of the time, or?
Yeah, so I would say probably in Australia for 2 or 3 months a year now.
Oh, not much at all.
Yeah, and either in the US or wherever we're playing for the other 8 or 9 months of the year. Yeah, so it's pretty US based, I would say. But before LIV, I was spending maybe 3 or 4 weeks here a year.
In Australia?
Yeah.
Are you actually spending more time here now?
Yeah, absolutely. So much more time.
That's sort of better.
It's awesome.
I mean, it's better for you.
Yeah, unreal.
At what point did you discover that you had, I guess obviously you're at school here in Australia, in Brisbane. What point did you discover, look, I'm a pretty good golfer?
I always thought, even through high school, that I was going to play golf.
Oh, really?
Yep. That was
as
just
a job?
Yeah, not even, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I had to, but it was just always in my mind that I was going to play golf for the rest of my life. And that was it. I didn't really ever think about anything else, any other career options. To this day, I don't know what I would do if I wasn't playing golf. I don't know what I would be. So it was always about getting as good as I could get. It was never really about focusing on something else just in case.
Is that because you loved it and you were passionate about it, or is it because you just made a decision, this is me, that's who I am?
I definitely loved it and am still very passionate about it. I don't know. I just thought it was me. I thought I had no other choice. It's just what I wanted to do. And, watching the TV, watching the Aussies play well, and even Tiger, watching all that stuff, I wanted to be a part of that. And, I just didn't really ever think of anything else.
Because most people I know who are successful in any particular undertaking, whatever it is, usually the ones I know are in business, but I know rugby league players similarly. They become what we might see looking from the outside is that they look like they're obsessed. Obsessed with...
You have to be obsessed.
Can we just talk about that for a moment? Because some people get weird about obsessed people, but successful people, generally speaking, are obsessed on their skill, obsessed about being really good at it, obsessed about it plays a part in everything they do. They nearly don't have any other conversation about anything else other than the thing that they're obsessed about. And it's always about golf. Were you like that as a teenager, for example? Were you driving mum and dad mad? Like you have all the golf magazines in those days. You would have golf magazines, probably not much, not much digital media. Then it obviously became digital media. But were you and watch it on telly?
Yeah, that's all I ever really cared about. I did play a lot of sports growing up, probably until I was 15, 16, played cricket and rugby league and stuff. And I think that was really important as well to give me some balance. But I never really went that way for whatever reason. It was always, like you said, golf magazines, getting up early, watching golf on the TV, and then golf in the afternoons after school. That's, basically all I ever did.
So if someone's a parent and their kid's showing a real keen interest in a sport, or it could be a skill too, it could be, playing computer games, for example, what is something that you could take from it that your parents did to support that? Like, did your parents ever say, hey, mate, get off the telly, stop watching this game, I want you to go out and play cricket today.
Yeah.
You got to play cricket this morning, or you've got school exams coming up.
Yeah.
How did your parents react to that? I don't know how I would react, but I'm really curious to know how your parents reacted.
They were, school was always a priority, I would say. It was always about getting the work done, but there was also, me bugging them, telling them to take me to golf. You know what I mean? It wasn't, there was no real mix, for sure. I played cricket for school and rugby league, and played that until I was probably 13. But then after that, golf is all I wanted to do. It was at the golf course playing 9 holes with dad or with mates or whatever. That was our thing. Dad would pick us up from school. We'd get changed in the car, go straight to golf, and then got home from golf, did the schoolwork and had dinner and went to sleep. And then it was just a
repeat and rinse and repeat. Just keep going. It's funny, kids when they're 15, 16, they start to want to do other stuff. They want to go with their mates. They want to go to, go out at night, just do things, go to the Echo or whatever.
Yeah.
But committed people who become really successful at what they do, they tend to sort of brush that a little bit. How was it at school with your mates when they knew that, or did you pick some mates who like golf?
No, none of my schoolmates actually played golf. They're all cricketers, or a bunch of them played AFL as well. So it was kind of weird, I guess. Growing up, I definitely missed out on a lot of stuff because I was at golf, but there was no real place I'd rather be. There was nothing I would miss, for golf. So
and then do you build a golf community?
Yeah, I had mates at golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, people that I would meet up there in the afternoon and we'd play, and then on the weekends as well. So, yeah, I kind of had two friend groups, I guess.
Yeah. And at what point did you say, okay, I'm not going to? Did you do the HSC? You finished school?
Yeah.
So you did the HSC, and did you at any stage think to yourself, should I go to uni, or did you think about anything like that?
Well, I passed high school, but barely. So I didn't think. So
tertiary education wasn't a thing on your agenda.
No.
So what happened then? So like, how did you then sort of parlay yourself into the golfing world?
I got a job. I worked at the Redcliffe RSL for a couple of years.
The now Dolphins territory?
Yeah, that's it. Worked there for a couple of years, running plates, then worked behind the bar, did some cellar work, and then, just went to golf. I'd work 3 or 4 hour shift, go to golf, and then come back and work 3 or 4 hour shift at night. So it was... it was pretty busy.
But did you think to yourself, I'm just doing golf because that's my pastime, or did you think to yourself, I'm doing this golf, I'm happy to have the job to make ends meet a little bit, give me something to do.
Yeah.
But on my game here is I'm going to become a pro golfer.
Yeah. No,
that was in the back of your head.
Yeah. Even when I was at work, I was thinking about what I was going to practice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So like you were that committed.
Yeah.
But would you say you're naturally gifted at it, or is more practice, training?
No, I would say there's definitely a bit of natural stuff there. I mean, I think doing it from such a young age as well helps. And it was never really, when you're 3 or 4 years old, it was never really about how good you were. It was just you were having fun hitting the ball around and chasing it around. So I definitely think that helped, but it was I would say through my teenage years, I definitely put in a lot of work to make myself good at it.
So, because the obvious question to me is, what makes a natural golfer, maybe not a champion golfer, but someone who's naturally good at it? Because I've seen cricketers, for example, who have got a really good eye-hand coordination, and a lot of cricketers have eyes in their face quite close. And I've been watching your shape of your face. You don't have a great, you don't have a cricketer's.
I was terrible at cricket.
I was going to say,
So
you don't have
sense.
a cricketer's eyes.
Yeah.
They're normally a bit closer together, and they're very straight.
Yeah.
And which sort of allows them to,
makes sense.
play cricket, especially if they're batters. And I was just trying to look at your physicality, particularly your face. By the way, I'm going to say you're a much bigger guy than I thought.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you're wearing, don't always wear shorts, but you got a big set of pins on you. Like you look like you look like you got a lot of power in your legs.
Yeah.
So what are the sort of, let's talk about the natural skills that you can look at young kids today and say, well, that kid's going to be, he's got some natural skills at golf. What are the natural skills that you think you have, and what are the developed skills that you think you have in terms of power, for example? But let's start off the natural skills, like eye-hand coordination, that type of stuff.
Yeah, I think when I watch kids now, I think the natural kids, especially the quite young ones, hit a lot of shots out of the middle of the club face. Just the sound that it makes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're just very good at getting the club there, and that's a gift. A lot of people can't make that happen. So
I'm one of them. Put my hand up early.
Yeah, so I would say that's natural. I would say mostly everything else you have to work on.
So the rest of the stuff's developed.
Yeah, I would say so.
And in terms of I was just talking about, you got a big set of legs on you. Like let's talk about power, for example. And be able to hit the ball distance, but also having enough power to be able to control it. In terms of who your coaches are, like your training coach, for example, do they specifically work on building power for you or enhancing the power you already have?
Yeah, pretty much. Through our off season, which is now, it's about probably building a bit more muscle and slowing down a little bit.
Slowing down, how do you mean?
Like moving more weight slower.
Right.
Building muscle. And then throughout the season, it's about how quick we can move that weight. So the weight might come down, but we're throwing something really quick, or we're jumping rather than just doing a squat or something like that. So there's a lot of quick power movements throughout the year, and then at the end of the year, we kind of try to build that muscle up and try and make it quicker for next year.
So you're in the sort of what's called pre-season or post-season now.
Yeah.
So in that period, when you say you're building muscle, what are we talking about? Are we talking about bench presses? Or are we talking about squats and dips? And
a lot of our power comes from legs, so like ground and core.
And core.
And then the rest of the stuff up here, I guess through the shoulders and chest and stuff is all like stabilization. So not letting the club get up here and do all types of crazy stuff. It's just being stable. All this stuff down here is trying to move pretty quick.
Yeah, so I guess what you're trying to do is in the early stage, like in your off season, is build the muscle, and I presume is building muscle and strength.
Yeah.
So it's like what sort of exercise would you be doing?
Sorry,
I'm minding because because like see, I see boxers do this. And I know a lot more about boxing than I do about golf, but I see boxers do this and they will actually go out and build a lot of muscle in their abdomens, butt, legs, but then 12 or 10, 15 weeks before they start to fight, then they start cutting it down, like the amount of muscle.
That's pretty much the same idea.
It's the same idea.
Yeah.
So they'll do things, most people don't think boxers, for example, go and do deadlifts.
Yeah.
But they do.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, we do deadlifts. It's pretty, standard type of stuff. Building muscle is, for us, we probably stick to 4 or 5 exercises in a session. So it would be like squats, deadlifts, maybe some lunges, and then a pull up and a press.
Yeah, like compound movement though.
Yeah,
a lot of like you're engaging just about everything in all those exercises.
Yeah,
and then what do you do? Then go and apply metrics after that. Do you just go down and start jumping over boxes?
Yeah, probably through the season we do that more.
Through the season.
Yeah.
So and that gives you speed.
Yeah.
So
that's the idea.
So is speed a really important part of the strategy?
Yeah, I mean, hitting the ball further is definitely an advantage to it. Hitting the ball further always comes with its disadvantages. It can go further into the shit when you hit the ball further. So you got to learn how to control that as well. But that's the coach's job. This is the trainer's job. That's where all this kind of blends into a team.
But do you have? It's a bit as part of your natural ability. Are you really good on working out sort of distance? And I mean, do you have a really good eye for spatial?
Yeah, I would say I do. Yeah.
So spatially good. Like if I can see the ball, I know where the ball is in front of me. So you got to get that spatial awareness, but you also got to know that there's the space I've got to cover. Mm-hmm. Is that something you work on?
Yeah, well, we have yardage books now which tell us pretty much everything. I would say probably inside 80 meters, I don't ask for a yardage, so it would all be just what I'm seeing. So there is a sense of that, but outside of that, you work, on the range with how far each club goes. So you're always kind of figuring out what club you need to hit, what shot you need to hit for how far it needs to go. So there's never really I wouldn't say there's a feel as such. There's a feel to the shot, but not really how far the ball's going. You're kind of just letting it go.
Yeah, so because and I guess you're probably working this stuff out down to the meter.
Mm-hmm.
You would know.
Yeah.
Down to the meter.
Yeah.
What the possibility is.
Yeah.
And also what you need to do, what you need to achieve.
Yeah.
And is that your caddy helping you out on that?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it. A lot of it is him. We'll have a conversation before pretty much every shot with how far the ball needs to land, how far it's going to roll out, which way it's going to go on the green, how much the wind is doing. It's a big equation before every shot, but we've been working together for a long time. We've got pretty good at it.
And is that about him knowing you?
Yeah, I think so.
Knowing your capability?
Yeah. I think through time you both kind of get the same mindset with what you want to do. So a lot of the times now, we've been working together for a long time. A lot of the times now we'll get to a shot and it's like, yep. Everything's just like bang, bang, bang. Whereas I think at the start it was a little bit more kind of, what are we trying to achieve here?
Like learning about each other too.
Yeah, exactly.
And so how important is that relationship? Because
it
sounds like important. Pretty critical.
Yeah. Well, it's important not only for the golf game, but I think for your mind as well. I spent a lot of time with Sam. He's probably 6-7 hours a day.
Wow.
When we're at tournaments. So and we're usually this far apart.
Yeah.
So it's very close. You have to get along with your caddy as well. In a social setting, personally. So I picked a good one.
So outside of the game, would he be training? Would he be there when you're training? Would he be watching you sort of do exercise, etc.?
No, not the exercise stuff. He doesn't get in the gym much. But if we go to hit some balls or play 9 holes, most of the time he's there.
Yeah, so once you're on the course training, he'll be there.
Yeah.
And socially?
Yeah. He
lives in Florida?
Yep. Yeah, he lives probably 20 minutes away.
Right.
We actually just went fishing last week. He come on a fishing trip with us. He's one of my best mates.
Oh, right. Okay,
yeah. So
it's that level.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And really from, not knowing each other to, one of my best mates now, it's pretty cool.
And where'd you find him? Like,
when I was a young when I was a young professional,
at which age? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Because you're still young.
Probably 20.
20. Wow.
Yep. I was playing. He's from New Zealand, and he just happened to be at home the same time the New Zealand Open was on. He had been working in the States. And was at home, and he was working for a friend of mine, Michael Sim, and he missed the cut. And I knew Sam was a good caddy because he'd been working in the States. I'd never had a good caddy before. And I said to him, do you mind if I, basically borrow your caddy for the weekend? I just want to see what it's all about. And then so he said yes. And then we went out there the next day around the hills, New Zealand Open. We went around there, and the next day I hit 18 greens. So I don't think I'd ever really done that before. And then I was like, there really is a key to having a good caddy.
So you would attribute some of those 18. How many times? 18 greens.
18 greens. 18 out of 18.
That's 100% success rate. So you would attribute some of that to what he did or said or helped you with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was playing some pretty decent golf at the time. I wouldn't say it was my best stuff, but just having someone there to give you 100% confidence in what you're doing, I think was really, really cool. And like I said, that was the first time I ever experienced a professional caddy. So, that's when I was like, there's something to this. It's not just me.
When you did the LIV thing, did they offer him something? Or is that part of your total package? Like, do you look after him?
Yeah, I've always, I guess, as far as payment and all that stuff goes, I've always looked after him. And
that's from you though. That's up to you.
That didn't change. Yeah.
Yeah. So your team is on you. They're not like employees, but like they're part of your team. So you're responsible for everything that they get.
Yeah.
And therefore it's up to you to do a deal in order to put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
So how long ago again was it that the LIV deal came to you?
It's probably just over 2 years now.
And who rang you? Greg Norman? How did it all work?
There was a lot of kind of movement, I guess, throughout the tour at the time, and agents and stuff would come up to you and they would say, and then I remember after the it was after the Open, Greg rung me up and we had a really good chat, and I spoke to a few really good friends that I knew I could lean on in the space as well. And as a team, we just decided to go for it.
Did you know Greg Norman before that?
I'd met him a few times. I wouldn't say I knew him well. I definitely know him well now. And he's been great for us.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Like you remember the rugby league sort of wars. When Murdoch tried to tip rugby league into Super League, so it didn't work at the end of the day. You remember Kerry Packer? When he changed cricket, brought in the one-day series, and by the way, Greg Norman was around then, and he was very close to Kerry.
Yeah.
Very close to Kerry. And did you think to yourself, what were the sort of challenges? I mean, you're a young guy at the time, we're still young, but what sort of emotional challenges do you go through, like when you're trying to work out, should I jump? I mean, apart from the fact that they're offering you a nice paycheck, but what are the things you felt? Did you ring your dad up?
Yeah. Yeah, I spoke to a lot of people. I think the things that I felt was, it was all kind of still up in the air, and was my career as a golfer going to be secure was the main question. And before anything else, and the answer was yes from everyone.
If you moved across to live, yeah. And what do you mean by secure? What for you do you mean in a financial security?
Well, no, I mean, like, am I going to be able to play golf professionally? Like, it was so fresh at the start, we didn't know whether it was going to be a year or or like it's been now. It's been a dream, but that was the biggest question. I think second was, playing less golf, spending more time in Australia was obviously really, really important. And then third was the business decision. Like, it's a pretty big number to knock down, and I get to play golf for the rest of my life as a professional. Do what I love in Australia, support junior golf and golf in Australia, and I get to spend more time here. So it's a no-brainer.
I mean, I remember at the time a lot of people criticising you. I mean, how did you deal with that? Like, because I mean, actually, I came out and said, "Are you serious? Like, a young guy, of course you're going to do it. Like, why wouldn't you? You'd be off your head." If I was a parent, I would say you're off your head if you don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, assuming you could, get assurances that you could play the game you really love, and you're not going to get locked out of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
There's going to be more participants in it, and they've got a proper program. Assuming that was the case, but like, why would anybody in their right mind not do it? I mean, especially if you're a young man. It wouldn't matter if you're an old man. Like, you still do it. Yeah, but like, and how important was the support of someone like Greg Norman though? Like, given that he was sort of a proponent for it, like he was the front of it.
Yeah.
His endorsement.
Yeah, I think I watched a lot of Greg growing up. I idolized him as a kid, and then to be speaking to him is one thing, you know what I mean, and then for him to want you to come over and be on his team is basically it was another thing. So. It was a really big decision. There was a lot of harsh comments at the start, and through time, all of that has kind of dwindled down.
Do you read the papers? Did you read?
No. I can't be bothered reading that shit.
At the time? No, good.
No, I would say I spent a lot less time on the phone through digital media, and spent a lot more time on the phone speaking to people that I love and that I care about what they think of me, and that at the end of the day trumped everything.
That's a really important point you made there, because this happens a lot in Australia, and probably overseas too. We tend to get bogged down on what everybody thinks about it, and we don't even know these individuals, particularly on social media. Yeah, we don't know who the hell they are. Yeah, and the point you just made is you sort of spent less time looking at your social media on your phone and spend more time actually on the telephone talking to people who you trust. Yeah. So is it fair to say that at the end of the day, the only people whose opinion that matters are the people who you have around you? Yeah, absolutely. That was a pretty mature thing to do for a young guy. Did someone tell you that?
I just had so many good conversations with so many good people that it was just meant nothing. The other stuff meant nothing, and they ensured me that I was making the right decision for myself, and that was all I needed. It was I didn't need the approval of mainstream media at that time to make me feel good. It was all about, like I said, spending more time in Australia, supporting the events here, and now we have a great event in Adelaide. So it was all that stuff meant so much more to me than what someone was going to, someone nasty was going to say to me on social media.
Well, but as you know, lots of people, especially younger people, they get a bit caught up in the whole social media thing, and they worry about what people think.
Yeah.
But what do you? I mean, you're someone who's actually been through that in a very intense way. Yeah, young people struggle with mental health based on what, and we saw a young girl recently in Australia. I don't know if you were aware of this, but she took her own life, just a kid in Sydney. What would you say to those people? Because you've been at the apex of this. Like, people were really having a crack at you. I mean, how would you tell these people, these younger kids especially, to deal with this stuff?
Yeah, it's a tough one because it is such a brutal world, and you know, I'm a culprit of it all the time. I spend so much time on my phone now, just doing random stuff on Instagram, and it's almost hard to get away from. But I would say at the end of the day, mum and dad, the people around you that really love you are the only people's opinions that matter. That's it. Yeah.
So because like younger kids, especially like if they're young teenagers, young girls, a teenager, they feel as though and it's a different generation to you. You know, I think you're a millennial, and they're, you know,
I got no idea what I am.
Yeah, I think you're a millennial. But like these kids are, you know, Z or Z, whatever they call it, and their lives have been brought up on social media.
Yeah.
And it would be good for them to hear people like you who have become extraordinarily successful, but also people like you who've actually experienced the pain, well, not about pain, but experienced the criticism that they think are really the most important part of their life. It's important for them to hear people like you talk about this. Have you ever thought to yourself, you know, that's one of my obligations, that's one of the things I should do, like the give back? Are you at a stage now where you're ready to give back?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I've, particularly to the game of golf in Australia, I feel like I do a pretty good job of that.
Well, explain that through. Take me through it, especially the younger people.
So, I mean, I have a scholarship now where I mentor a couple of guys every year. They come over and hang out at the house. This year, the guys come up to a LIV Golf tournament in Chicago and saw how everyone prepared, and you know, got to see guys like, you know, Brooks Koepka and Bryson and DJ and all these guys that they see on TV. They got to meet them all. It was a pretty cool thing to do. But I've been doing that now for probably close to 6 or 7 years.
The scholarship?
Yeah.
Wow.
And actually, one of my first scholarship holders was on my team last year, which was a pretty cool thing. He didn't play his best, but yeah. So that was kind of like a proud brother almost moment. And then I think just getting down here and supporting the game in general has always been really important to me. You know, playing the local events, you know, doing the junior clinics, all the stuff that you can do to make someone's, you know, whether it be golf skills or life skills or whatever it is, better. Yeah, I really enjoy doing that.
And that's one of the things you're doing at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does that entail? Like, you know, we're talking about just showing kids how to hold a golf club, or more generally talking about what it's like to become a professional. What's it like to be in your shoes?
Yeah, I would say just, you know, the biggest thing for me to come out of the scholarship is someone to talk to. Because when I first moved to the States, I was 21 and basically knew no one other than my caddy, which was a really fresh relationship at the time. And I felt like, although we had FaceTime and I could talk to mum and dad, I felt like there was just something missing, and that to me was just a mate that I could just go hang out with and talk to, and you know, through time I got lucky, got to know Mark Leishman really well, and Adam Scott and Jason Day, and they kind of all become my big brothers in that sense, where we could hang out at golf tournaments, go to dinner and play practice rounds. But for that first, you know, couple of years was pretty lonely, and yeah, so I just felt like it was really important to me to to give these kids someone to talk to.
Yeah, and because I think what's really important that most people don't understand, when someone gets to the top of their game, everybody just assumes that they're consumed by lots of friends. Like, but in actual fact, you are quite lonely. It is a quite lonely place.
Yeah, particularly golf.
Is that right? Why? Because it's not a team sport so much.
Yeah,
but it is now. But you're in a team now, but it lives a team structure. But before LIV, you're just out there on your own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just, you find yourself in these weird and wonderful places throughout the States, in a hotel room that you don't really want to stay in. And
it looks glamorous.
It's
you're living out of a bag.
It's not. So that was it. Just someone to hang out with, go have a beer with, go have dinner with, someone to text when you're not playing your best golf or whatever. Someone to kind of lean on is what I wanted.
So I guess that brings me to another point. You're engaged or you're married?
Married,
You're married now. I saw the ring on your finger, which you were playing with.
I can't stop fiddling with it.
How long has that been there?
It's been 10 months.
10 months now.
I can't stop.
Do you play, when you play golf, do you
I pull it off.
You take it off, because it's a distraction, I guess.
Yeah, and this is my glove hand too, and the glove doesn't fit that well over it.
Yeah, so how important to you is having that real super close relationship now? You're only 31, you're a young guy, but how important is that? I mean, what does that do to your golf? Or does it not change your golf?
I would say it motivates me more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
To do well or to...
Yeah, to do well. I would say there's probably a little bit of added pressure, with having someone there that's so close. They really feel like a team as well, and they want you to do well, and that they want you to do well. So it's almost like another piece to the puzzle. But it's very motivating. I think particularly when you start to have a family and all that stuff, I think I'm really looking forward to that.
Wow.
And how cool that's going to be as a parent, and I think that'll motivate me even more to be a better person and a better player. So yeah, I can't wait for that next step.
What's your wife's name?
Chanel.
And where'd you meet her?
I met her in Jacksonville through a mutual friend. She's a smart girl as well. She's a chiropractor. She actually...
That's awful.
It's good. It's good on the road, Babe, my back hurts a little bit. Actually, when I met her, she'd just finished all of her last exams, so could not have been better timing. I think it would have, with how busy she would have been, it would have been a bit of a struggle if it was any earlier. So, she's awesome. I got a good one.
So she goes on the road with you?
Yeah, most of the time she's on the road. She still works from time to time. She'll stay at home and work on some clients and all that stuff. But I would say now probably 70% of the time she's on the road with me, and it's a pretty good traveling partner. Like you said, a chiropractor's always nice, especially
That's
after
perfect.
a long flight or something like that. It's good.
So I guess the obvious question, if maybe it could be a first here, but the obvious question is 10 months, you're thinking about family?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you trying?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's awesome.
She's actually pregnant at the moment.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's very good.
Yeah.
And how far down the track is she?
She's 20 weeks.
20 weeks.
About halfway.
Yeah, because the rule normally is you don't say anything until 12 weeks or something like that. Yeah. But she's 20 weeks and she's well, she's healthy.
Yep. She's doing awesome.
That's pretty exciting for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. We actually just had a scan a couple of days ago. And
did you find anything out?
Boy or girl? We know, but we're not telling anyone.
Hold it. But you know.
Yep.
That's cool.
And the stuff that they can do now is nuts.
In terms of the scanning?
Yeah, it was insane.
I know.
Yeah. The heart, the arteries, and
you see
all
the blood
stuff.
pumping and everything.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. That must sort of take you to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And especially knowing that your business is stable. I mean, that's pretty important. The business you're in is stable.
Yeah.
In terms of finance and stuff like that. Because you want to be able to, it was like growing up, you want to be able to support your family well and make sure there's a house for them to live in, the kids can
Yeah.
get properly educated and they can do the sorts of things that you were allowed to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on struggle street. You know, it'd be a lot different if you were still picking up plates and
Yeah.
glasses
Yeah.
at Redcliffe.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be.
Do you feel like, I guess it's a bit of a weird question, but do you feel like a really big sense of gratitude to LIV, Greg Norman? I mean, they sort of, to some extent, didn't put you, but you know, your skill got you there. But like, they sort of found you.
Yeah.
Where does your gratitude lie? I mean, or do you go back to your dad, or how do you sort of scale your gratitude about where Cam Smith is today, married?
I would say my parents, first and foremost, they were the best. They still are the best. They did everything they needed to do to make sure my sister and I had the best life possible, and it was awesome.
And like, I mean, do you then say, I feel like, because I mean, you're telling me about how you're going to try and you are giving back into the golf world, like to younger kids, and you've got the scholarships running, which you come out of your pocket, I guess, the scholarships.
Yeah.
Do you feel like then, in terms of being a parent yourself, soon enough, that you have to try and repeat what your parents did for you?
Yeah, that's a big job. It's a big job, especially with how much we're traveling and all that stuff. Yeah, like I said, I got so lucky.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Do you reckon it was luck?
No, I don't think it. I don't think it was luck. I think my parents worked extremely hard to get us where we were. But I got lucky in the sense that I had really great parents. You know?
Yeah. That's luck.
Yeah.
That's just luck.
Yeah.
Because we don't choose our parents.
No.
You know, like that's not something we make a choice on. So,
No.
and you know, I know what you're saying because I'm in the same sort of category. You know, it's like, and we know plenty of people that haven't had the same
exactly.
experience. You talk about luck. I mean, lots of people look up to people like you and they say, wow, what a great life he's got. You know, he gets to play golf with Donald Trump, who's now the president. Who else do you play golf with?
We, you know, through tournaments and stuff, we meet some pretty crazy people, celebrities and, you know, big CEOs and all that stuff. Me personally, I've got the worst memory of any person in the world.
You play with Tiger Woods?
No, I haven't.
Did you meet him?
Yeah, I've met him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did he give you any tips? Do those guys actually come and say, mate?
I was competing against him,
he's not giving you tips.
he's not giving me tips.
We haven't met him in a social sense, so.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What about Michael Jordan?
No, I haven't played with him.
You haven't played golf with him?
No.
Because all the top golfers, they end up somehow playing with Michael Jordan or, you know, I don't know, other people like Trump, because there are golf fanatics. There are golf tragics in this world. There are people who are golf tragics. They're not golfers. They are golfers, but they're not like you.
Yeah.
But they're tragics. Yeah. And it seems to me, because I mean, I watch it here in Australia with rugby league players. They tend to go and play squash with some great squash player. They go and play golf with a great golfer in Australia. And it's sort of like mandatory when do people ring you up and say, hey, did Trump ring you and say, hey, son, can you move me down to Mar-a-Lago and I'm going to go out into the course?
Didn't quite work like that, but yeah, pretty much. And I mean, when you got someone like that asking you to play, it's pretty hard to say no. So
yeah, but do you sometimes feel as though you're sort of being pushed around the joint, like because you're a famous golfer and they're let's call it celebrity in their case, in case of Trump at the time. How do you feel about that? What do you think? I mean, because we're Aussies, like we're different.
Yeah.
A little bit different. We don't seek out fame and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I would say I've definitely said no before because I feel like it wasn't the right thing to do, whether it be for, for my golf or whatever. But I've never really tried to seek that, attention.
Because, you have a brand. I mean, part of the, Cameron Smith is a brand in golf.
Yeah.
And that makes you money. That's your lifestyle.
Yeah.
It supports your lifestyle and your now family, bigger responsibility than you've ever had before.
Yeah.
How important is it to protect that brand? And are you really conscious of that? Like,
yeah, I think I definitely am. You know, and I think I just love coming back home, you know, because I can be the person that I want to be. And Australians are so laid back. You know, I can go to the pub and have a beer, and someone might come and tap me on the shoulder and, you know, say what's up or can we get a photo or whatever. But it's never, and that's what I want my brand to be, is like an easygoing, you know, larrikin, like you said before, that can just do all the things that he wants to do with his mates. And I think that's what Australia allows me to do. So that's why I love being back. But
do you have like would you employ, say, a brand manager type of person, like someone who can manage your brand, like in a professional sense? Like accept interviews or?
Yeah, I think now, you know, through time, I've obviously got agents who represent me, and now we've got a GM for Ripper and all this stuff. And yeah, there definitely is a sense that, you know, there's almost yes and no's, you know what I mean? And this isn't for me, this is for me.
But your call or their call, or they just say, hey,
kind
mate.
of like a team call, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about Ripper.
Yeah.
Who are your teammates?
I've got the three best teammates out there. I've got Mark Leishman, Matt Jones, and Lucas Herbert. Lucas was a new addition this year. And really could not have worked out any better for us. We won 3 times this year. Leish and Jonesy have been there for a couple of years. Leish actually come over the same time as what I did.
You mean come across to LIV? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we came across at the same time. Like I mentioned before, Leish is a really good mate of mine now, and it was kind of like, well, if you do it, I'll do it. If you do it, I'll do it. That went on for, it seemed like forever at the time, but yeah, so that's been awesome, and the 4 of us, is not only the 4 of us, also the caddies, the people around, the trainers, the coaches. All of us have bonded so much, and we do have such a unique team culture. You know, being all Australians and having that, you know, that way of just saying something without it meaning anything, the Australian way. And having really good fun doing it. So it's been awesome.
So you're the captain.
Yep.
So just explain the structure to me. So LIV pays the team or pays you and you choose the team? How does it all work? Like,
yeah, so that was kind of the way at the start. I would say now it's more, the teams are almost run individually now. So there's 13 teams.
Yep.
There's 54 guys. And, you know, for example, last year bringing Lucas on, that was a decision that I wanted to have him because he was such a great golfer and I knew his potential. That was something that I put forward to Ripper and to LIV to bring him on, and then they kind of went through the process. I'm not smart enough to be writing up documents and getting lawyers and all that stuff. Yeah, so that...
When you say to Ripper, you mean your teammates?
To the GM and
to the GM of Ripper.
Yeah.
But do your other teammates get consulted? Is it a process?
Yeah,
in this sort of stuff?
For sure. Yeah, we spoke about it for sure. And you know, there was a lot of other guys that were on that list as well, but we thought Lucas was the best fit for us. And yeah, like I said, he come in and he particularly the last 2/3 of the year, he started to kind of get on his feet. I think he was a bit worried about standing on everyone's toes when he first come in, and really was not awkward, but just didn't have a sense of belonging. And then the more time he hung out with us and got to know us, that's when he fired up and really started to play some good golf.
Because golf is, you know, one of the toughest things about golf, I think, is it's very much an individual game. You know, you're out there playing your game, and you're sort of on your own, apart from your caddy and stuff like that. But what this concept is like teamwork.
Yeah.
And you're now taking a different role. It's more of a leadership role.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. It's a hard
one.
You're a leader.
It is hard.
And with guys that are older than you.
Yeah, particularly when guys are older than you and have been doing it for longer.
Yeah.
So, you know, the biggest thing for me is making sure everyone gets along. and that was a really easy job. I'm sure through time there'll be some, the situations that come up with maybe different guys that come in the future and all that stuff. But for me, it's about everyone getting along and everyone just doing what they have to do to be a better golfer. And that for me is just, we get together, play a practice round. We might do a putting drill.
Who sets that out though? Who sets out the drills? And is it the GM or is it you?
No, I do.
You do.
Yeah.
So you're sort of like the coach, if you know what I mean. Like
ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a coach by any means, but it's like, just little things where it gets your brain working, gets you, being competitive, I think is a really important part to being a great golfer. I think anyone can stand on the range and, hit the ball as good as they want to hit it if they hit, so many balls. But being a great competitor is what wins you tournaments. And that's getting in that competitive spirit early in the week, competing against each other, competing within the team, I think is really important. And I think that's why, we had so much success this year.
But if one of the players, as you're in that role, if one of the players, like let's say Leishman is if you suspect he's not feeling great, like don't know me physically, but maybe not quite there, ready, do you, hey mate, what's going on? Do you say, do you want to talk to the psychologist? Like, I don't know, how does that work?
Thankfully we haven't had one of those situations so far. I don't know what I would do. I'd definitely talk to them, for sure. But I think, we've all been, all of us have been individual professionals for so long. So it's, it's kind of nice in the fact that when something's wrong, when something's up, you kind of almost go and do it yourself without even knowing you're doing it, if that makes sense. So, so we really haven't had one of those moments, yet, But are you watching for this sort of stuff? I mean, because there's has someone at LIV, for example, prepared you for this leadership role? Like, do they come out and say, mate, okay, you're the captain. These are things No, not particularly.
I think you run it yourself.
I think I've kind of gone out of my own way a little bit to, to ask some guys in some leadership roles their advice. Guys like Adam Reynolds at the Broncos, I think he's a great leader, and I definitely got some advice off him at the end of last year.
Especially when he did his bicep.
Yeah, jeez, what an idiot.
There was nothing, there was nothing in it. He just like literally tapped him.
Yeah.
And the bicep just popped.
Yeah, I know.
That's age, though. That's age. It is. Because like your tendons, over time. But he's probably hit it so many times.
Yeah, exactly.
The tendons would have been a bit.
He's looking fit at the moment.
Does he look good?
Yeah, he looks good.
Oh,
I'm excited.
You're a Broncos fan.
Yeah.
What do you think of Kevy being cut?
I don't know what to think of it, to be honest, and I'm probably not in a space to really comment on it because I don't know the club that well. I don't.
But you love Kevy. I mean, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely love Kevy. He was one of our best players ever.
Yeah.
And he won maybe more premierships than anyone else as well. So, yeah, it's definitely sad to see him go, but at the same time, we're excited. I feel like the fans are excited to, see what this next kind of step can bring.
Because Madge, of course, is, fortunately, I'm a New South Welshman, so, and I know Madge quite well. So Madge actually got us over the line this year against Queensland. How does Queensland feel like that? I mean, we're off golf, but this is an important topic, rugby league, mate. How does how does a Brisbane Broncos supporter feel about a New South Wales coach coming in to take over, say, a legend of rugby league, which is Kevy Alders?
Yeah.
Did you get a shock when it was Madge's name was announced?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I said, I think we're all excited. He's definitely one of the best at his job, and that's a good thing for us. It is a bit weird to have a New South Welshman run a.
Well, he knows Reynolds.
Yeah,
Coach Reynolds at South.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'm just really hoping it was the right decision, and I guess we'll see that through time.
Yeah. final question. I'll just put it to you. What's the future for you, like, and future for you and your team, but also the future for Cameron Smith? What do you see yourself in 10 years' time when you're 41, for example? Because golf's got a long, long tail on it. You can play for a long time.
Yeah, it's often something that I think about, and I think I change my answer, with what, with how much golf I'm going to play, particularly, every 2 weeks. Every time I think about it, I'm like, oh, no, I'm not going to play that long. Oh, I might play that long. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And I've always been a cruisy kind of guy, so I think I'll just kind of wait it out until, someone taps me on the shoulder and tells me to piss off. But
you're too old.
Yeah, exactly. Particularly in the environment that we're in now, where the team, where you're not only playing for yourself, you're playing for 3 other guys. I would hate to be in a position where, you do get a little bit older and you are letting the team down. I never want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So, but the team and stuff, it's so exciting. The stuff that we talk about at meetings, not only within the team but within the league, being so worldwide, I think is a really great thing for us. We travel a lot, but I think we also bring a really good product to places that
totally
haven't seen, world-class golf for a long time. And, so I'm really excited as a team, but as a tour, I think, we're going to go from strength to strength. And I think as time goes on, we're going to have better players. We're going to have more depth. And I think we're going to be the tour.
And just finally, how's your body holding up? I mean, how do you, because you play a lot of golf and you have played a lot of golf.
Yep.
How you holding up?
Yeah, good. I would say I would owe a lot of that to my trainer and my physio. There's definitely a lot of work that goes into not only trying to become stronger, but trying to become more resilient, because we do get our body in some weird and basically shitty places.
Yeah, totally.
It shouldn't be doing it. But I would say the last couple of years, age has kind of hit me a little bit. You wake up out of it, you're like, oh, geez, that rib hurts. What did I do there? And you're like, I did nothing. Yeah, so it's so that's definitely getting to me. But there's always a way to work that out. So I'm holding up good.
And you still got that deep desire for majors, more majors.
Yeah, absolutely. I think particularly the last year or this year, I felt like I played okay in the majors. I felt like I did a lot of really good prep. And usually when I do a lot of really good prep, some really good results come, and they didn't really come for me this year. And that was really frustrating. And I think that's made me, particularly through this off season, where probably I slacked a little bit.
In last off season?
Yeah, in the last off season. This off season, it's been about golf, and it's been about, the Masters. That's our first major of the year.
When is that?
That's April.
So you've got let's say 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's, when the British Open finishes, which is in July, August, when that finishes, everyone automatically, you can see the whole focus of the golfing world, not only the players, but I think particularly the players, but the whole focus goes back to what can we do to make ourselves better before the Masters. And I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job so far. And it's definitely something that I need to keep getting better at. It's just preparing in the off season, making sure I'm ready to go. And yeah, so far so good.
Does the LIV structure allow you to prepare better, or it hampers you? Because you're over here now for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You're obviously not where you normally would train. You're not in your normal training camp or place of training.
Yeah.
Does that interruption sort of cause a problem?
I think that's what I learned last year, and I've always been a really good learner with what works and what doesn't, and I've always taken what works and what doesn't and kind of made it my own, and then you kind of go from there. So last year I definitely struggled a little bit through that preparation and through getting down here and playing and so I'm definitely doing a better job. And hopefully this year is the year that I do it all right and we can get out to Augusta in April and make it all work.
Well, as one of Australia's, from my point of view, and speaking on behalf of a lot of people, is one of our greatest exports, sporting exports at least.
Thanks.
We wish you all the best, mate.
Thank you.
It's been a great privilege.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers.